It's a wonderful thing about human nature that we're infinitely unpredictable. Any one person contains multitudes and they're capable of doing things that we don't know, maybe some things that they don't even know. When it comes to the world of movies, this means that even at the most unexpected times, an actor or director can really pull it out the bag. So I'm Amy from What Culture, and here are 8 recent incredible movie performances that nobody expected. 8. Nicolas Cage in Pig. I guess it's rather unfair that over the years Nicolas Cage has become a bit of a joke. It's an unfortunate side product of his propensity for goofy overacting and his participation in a range of bad films. It's the Adam Sandler effect, if you will. He does have a range of solid performances under his belt, from performing alongside Cher in 1987's Moonstruck to his haunting performance in 2018's Mandy. So really his range is quite impressive. This, however, doesn't make him immune to the effects of his less successful films, and it's always the ones with the bad reputation that stick around the longest. So when we heard of a film about a truffle forager whose pig is stolen, with Cage in the main role, we expected the worst. Fortunately for director Michael Sarnowski though, his feature debut has been a hit with pretty much every critic, with Cage being praised for his convincing performance as forager Rob Feld. In Cage terms, it's an understated performance, which critics have praised for its modest humility. With Pig, Cage has reminded us all that he is not to be pigeonholed. 7. Kristen Stewart in Spencer. Even though it's been many years since her Twilight fame, Kristen Stewart is still haunted by her early years in that many people still don't see her as a serious actress. When rumours emerged that she was to play one of the most beloved women to ever come out of Britain, they were met with certain levels of shock and outrage. "That's the Twilight lass though," everyone cried. "She can't play our Di, that's an insult." Well, they may find that they have to eat their words, as even before the film is available everywhere, it's tipped that Stewart is pretty much guaranteed an Oscar for her performance. It's always going to be difficult to play someone who was so widely loved and seen as public property. People have projected for years their own ideas of who Diana was and who she should have been, and when playing her in her own feature film, these are all things that Stewart would have had to take into account. From that Twilight lass to definite Oscar contender, she has come a long way. Reviews are already pouring in praising her as charming, uncannily precise, and even note perfect. The film's presentation of Diana may not be for everyone, but Stewart certainly gives it her all. 6. Joel Kinnaman in The Suicide Squad. After the train wreck that was the first Suicide Squad movie, we were all understandably suspicious when The Suicide Squad came out in 2021. Having removed some characters and replaced some actors, Joel Kinnaman was one of the central cast who remained unchanged. But this time around, he wanted to have a bit more fun with it. Now this could have gone two ways. Either it was going to be too campy and try-hard funny, or it was going to work. And luckily for Kinnaman, it was the latter. Overall, the film was widely praised and enjoyed, and Kinnaman managed to pull off a strong performance that contributed to that. Not overshadowed by the failure that was the last film, Kinnaman managed to reinvent his character just enough to bring something new to the table without being completely left field. As the squad's leader, he had a lot resting on his shoulders, but thankfully they were actually able to make the movie they wanted this time, with Kinnaman commenting that this time around it was actually a joy to shoot. 5. Sydney Flanigan in Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. People had little to expect from Sydney Flanigan as she took on the lead role of 2020's Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, and this is because, shockingly, it was her acting debut. You wouldn't usually think it was a good idea to hinge a whole film on the central performance of a young actress for whom this was her first ever movie. I mean, it seems pretty risky if you ask me. So it's nothing personal that we weren't expecting much from her. Some were concerned that she wasn't going to have strong enough acting abilities to carry the whole film, especially one on such a divisive and difficult topic as abortion. Well, we definitely got proven wrong. For her performance as the pregnant Autumn Callahan, she was nominated for over a dozen awards and won almost 10 more. And needless to say, this is incredibly impressive for a newbie. The film itself also earned its fair share of awards and nominations, thanks in part to Flanigan's performance. Despite her lack of experience, she pulled it out of the bag, and you can bet we won't be hurrying to underestimate her again. 4. Agatha Ruele in Titane. Horror as a genre has been largely dismissed by the world of film. Critics and awards bodies alike don't like horror films, and they've made that very clear. It's a shame because performances in horror are rarely praised because of the aforementioned bias. But on the rare occasion that a horror film starts being touted as actually worth watching, there's some room made for compliments. Ruele, the actress behind Titane's Alexia, shocked us all by bringing this wacky film to life. If you're not a very famous actress in an Ari Aster horror, you're probably not going to get anyone talking about you. Ruele's brutal physicality and her absolute dedication to this weird, difficult role, however, has turned heads, and she's thus forced people to start paying attention to her. She took what she was given with Titane and she ran with it, and oh man, did she make it look beautiful. 3. Maria Bakalova in Borat, the subsequent movie film. It was all fun and games joking about the second Borat film until suddenly Maria Bakalova was nominated for an Academy Award for her role. I'm not saying it wasn't absolutely deserved, but seriously, who could have seen that coming? In what was one of the most stunning nominations in recent years, apart from Hillbilly Elegy being nominated for literally anything, Bakalova had thousands of people rooting for her to win Best Supporting Actress in 2021's awards. She didn't end up winning, of course, but it's not like she didn't stand a chance. Playing Borat's maladjusted daughter, Tuta, Bakalova dived headfirst into a role made so challenging by its own outlandishness. Her performance was equally bizarre as it was endearing, as she somehow managed to make audiences care for her despite the overt humour of her character. Had Tuta been performed by someone less capable, she could have turned into one big joke that lost all meaning. With Bakalova, though, the character was able to help hammer home some serious points about sensitive topics without it all being overshadowed by stupidity. It's a fine line to toe, and nobody was expecting her to pull it off, but here we are, all happily surprised that she did. 2. Bob Wells in Nomadland. One of Nomadland's gimmicks, if you didn't know, was that a huge chunk of the cast weren't actors at all, but were instead regular people performing as slightly tweaked versions of themselves. One of those people was Bob Wells, the founder of an annual van dweller gathering and real-life YouTuber and nomad. It would be a mistake to think that acting as yourself is an easy feat, especially when pitted against the incredible on-screen talent that is Frances McDormand, who played the lead role of Fern. Bob and the rest of the non-professional acting cast took this in their stride, delivering believable and humane portraits of a range of people taking on the nomadic lifestyle. Bob came across as a genuine, likeable guy who wanted to bring individuals together in a community, much the same as his real-life self. The same could be said for the other nomads present. There wasn't a problem of losing immersion or things feeling clearly staged, no awkward stumbling or fumbling. Being on camera is hard when you're not used to it, but every one of them did a damn good job considering. 1. Will Smith in King Richard. The film isn't even out everywhere yet, and people are already claiming that Will Smith has bagged the Oscar for King Richard. Revolving around Richard Williams, the father of global superstar athletes Serena and Venus Williams, the film focuses on all the things Richard did to help his girls become the athletes they are today. It's been a long while since people had high expectations for Will Smith. Between a number of subpar movies and some weird commercial appearances, he's sort of disappeared from our minds as a serious actor. Now it seems he's making an unexpected comeback. It was probably in the 90s that Smith was last at his best, with the public flocking to see the films he was leading, meaning that his return to the big time has been decades in waiting. Time will tell as to whether his performance lives up to the hype and what the public actually thinks of it, but as of now, things are looking very good. And with that, we've reached the end of this list of 8 recent incredible movie performances that nobody expected. How many of these films have you seen? Did any of them shock you? Let us know in the comments down below. And remember to check out whatculture.com for more lists and articles like this every single day. As always, I've been Amy from What Culture, and I'll catch you next time.